Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where Joe Biden forgets this is all his fault, this is Ballot.
Well, to be fair, he forgets everything. Let's hit this. Joe Biden, remember him? Don't worry, he doesn't either. I'm Patrick Gutfield. I think Biden sat down with the New York Times to address Donald Trump's latest conspiracy theory, and this one's a doozy. Trump has decided that Biden was too mentally unfit to sign his own pardons. So his staff must have secretly used an Autopen machine to forge his signature. Biden's response? I made every single one of those decisions. He then took a little dig at Trump, saying, I understand why Trump would think that, because obviously, I guess, he doesn't focus much. Biden explained he used the Autopen because of the sheer volume of cases, which makes sense. Have you ever tried to sign your name 2,000 times? Your hand would fall off. The Autopen is legal, Biden said. Other presidents used it, including Trump. The process, according to Biden, was him giving verbal instructions to aides who would read out names and get his direct input. I was deeply involved, he said. I laid out a strategy. Biden also confirmed he granted preemptive pardons to family members, saying, I know how vindictive he is about Trump. All it would do is, if he went after them, is run up legal bills. I just know how he operates. But Biden wasn't having any of it. They're liars. They know it, he said about his critics. They've lied so consistently about almost everything they're doing. The best thing they can do is try to change the focus. What's next? Are we going to question whether he could handle a stapler? Maybe Biden had his podcast created with the help of AI. Well, folks, JD Vance went to Disneyland and somehow managed to make that controversial. That's right. Vice President Vance tried to take his family to the happiest place on earth, and hundreds of protesters turned out to say, not today, Splash Mountain. The crowd gathered outside the Grand Californian Hotel, waving signs like, no family vacation while we deal with family separation. Harsh, but to the point. One protester told Fox 11, get the hell out of here, we don't want him here. Which is basically the Yelp review for most political visits to California. The next day, Vance and his family hit the park anyway, hand in hand, flanked by Secret Service and cargo shorts. Several rides were reportedly shut down to make way for the vice president's VIP stroll through Bayou Country. Because nothing says for the people like making the people wait 90 extra minutes to ride Haunted Mansion. And where did the second family end up? On Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the new ride that replaced Splash Mountain. Yep, the same ride that conservatives have been grumbling about ever since Disney swapped out Song of the South for something less antebellum. Vance, apparently, is okay riding the woke log flume as long as it's part of a tightly secured family itinerary. Orange County officials, meanwhile, were like, could you not come right now? Supervisor Vicente Sarmiento told KTLA that Vance's visit comes at a time when trust in government feels fragile. That's politicians speak for, why did you have to bring this mess to our churro stand? ICE raids have reportedly increased across the region in recent weeks, with immigration advocates accusing federal agents of racial profiling in Latino neighborhoods. Protesters found it especially rich that while families were being torn apart by immigration policy, JD Vance was out enjoying a day with his. To sum up, Disneyland shut down for JD Vance. People protested, and yes, this is how the culture war ends. Not with a bang, but with a churro and a 2-hour wait for Pirates of the Caribbean. So, a Kansas City man decided to combine the worst parts of a bad breakup with a high-speed boat chase, and somehow made it even worse by doing it while drunk. The skipper allegedly threw a woman off his boat at Lake of the Ozarks. Then, when the water patrol showed up to ask a few questions, he figured the best course of action was to floor it and lead them on a chase across the lake. Now, I've been to Lake of the Ozarks. It's where people from Missouri go to pretend they're in Miami for a weekend. But apparently Peters thought he was in some kind of action movie, speeding away from the troopers in his 2023 Haya Ari marine boat. Which, by the way, sounds less like a boat and more like a sneeze you'd get blessed for. The chase ended when the boatmaster abandoned his boat at a dock and tried to escape on foot through a neighborhood and into the woods. Because nothing says I'm innocent like running through someone's backyard at 8:45 at night. The troopers caught him anyway. Turns out it's hard to hide when you smell like a distillery and your eyes look like you've been crying at a Taylor Swift concert. When they arrested him, Mr. Boat refused to take a breath test, which is always a smart move when you're already facing 5 charges, including boating while intoxicated. They found an open alcoholic drink near the driver's seat, which I'm sure he was just holding for a friend who definitely exists. Portions of today's show were made with the help of, I forget. Joe, can you remind me?
From the creators of Palace Intrigue, a new chapter in royal history begins. William and Kate's wedding captures the world's attention, but royal life isn't as perfect as it seems. Tensions rise as Harry meets Meghan, sparking a divide that will shake the monarchy to its core. From explosive interviews to family scandals, the royal family faces its most public challenges ever. As King Charles takes the throne, the future of the monarchy hangs in the balance. Family secrets, royal rifts, and the future of the crown. Crown and Controversy, wherever you get your podcasts.
Feuds, Power, Pride, and Payback. A new podcast from Calaroga Shark Media takes you inside the most explosive rivalries that shaped our world. From Hollywood's bloodiest breakups to political wars that toppled empires, Marvel versus DC, Trump versus Musk, the royal family's nuclear meltdown, Brangelina's 8-year courtroom carnage. These aren't just celebrity spats. They're billion-dollar battles that redefined entertainment, politics, and culture forever. Host Marcus Reed reveals the secrets, betrayals, and revenge plots that turned allies into enemies and love into warfare. When titans collide, everyone gets hurt. When pride meets payback, nobody wins. Feuds, Power, Pride, and Payback. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Alligator Alcatraz, a new podcast from Calaroga Shark Media. They built a detention center in the Florida Everglades to separate families and break spirits. Surrounded it with alligators, figured that'd be the end of it. What they didn't count on was Tommy Esperanza, a quiet maintenance worker who turned their bureaucratic nightmare into something extraordinary. While corrupt politicians profited from human suffering and incompetent officials created disasters with PowerPoint presentations, Tommy built an underground network that reunited families, exposed massive fraud, and brought down a congressman. Where the Gators were smarter than the guards, families fought back against systematic cruelty, and one man proved that wisdom beats authority every single time. Alligator Alcatraz, available wherever you get your podcasts.